I'm Kirsten Powell-Williams. I'm excited to be with you today as part of the National Sisterhood of Girl Scouts. I'm the Content and Collaboration Specialist with Girl Scouts of Maine. That's kind of a long title, but it basically means that I get to have a lot of fun creating some great programs and amazing events for girls. Girl Scouts of Maine covers the entire state of Maine, which on our map is right up here. It takes about 6 hours to drive from Kittery, which is down here in the south, all the way up north to Fort Kent, which it's actually cut off on this map. Maine is known for some delicious things like potatoes and lobster and moose, and my personal favorite, blueberries. Today we're going to create an algorithm to color in a patchwork quilt. This is the first step to earn the Brownie Coding for Good Coding Basics badge. At the end of this video, you'll know what an algorithm is and how to write an algorithm so that others can follow it to recreate your own paper design of a patchwork quilt. Now, let's get started. This activity will take about 20 minutes, including some time to gather your supplies and some time for cleanup. You will need 3 or more markers of different colors, a pen or pencil, and a few sheets of paper. Let's get started by exploring how computers help us to solve problems all day long and all over the world. For example, they help us communicate with friends and family more easily, much like we're doing right now. They make it faster and easier to do jobs like delivering mail, manufacturing clothing, and farming. But computers can't actually think for themselves. They can only do things that they're told to do. So computer scientists use a special language called code to tell computers what to do. They write a list of steps in code that a computer then follows. That list of steps is called an algorithm. Now, have you ever made pasta before? What would be an algorithm for getting ready for making pasta? You take out your ingredients, you boil water, set a timer, put the pasta in the water, put the sauce in the pan, and stir the sauce. But do you always do these things in the same order? The steps you take to make pasta are an example of an algorithm. Sometimes the steps can be done in any order you want. But what would it be like if you set the timer before the water started to boil? That would be silly. Or you put the sauce over the noodles before you cook the pasta. Now that wouldn't make for very yummy pasta, would it? A recipe is a great example of an algorithm. It's a list of steps to complete a task. In this case, the task is making pasta, and the recipe is the list of steps that you would take to do that. Just like following a recipe, a computer will do exactly what you tell it to do. So, computer scientists always think about the order of the steps when they create code. Once you know what an algorithm is, you can then write or follow one to complete any type of task. Now, you're going to write an algorithm to create a patchwork quilt. First, let's create a 5x5 grid on a blank piece of paper. Your grid can be as large as the paper, and it's okay if the boxes are rectangular. To make your grid, you're going to draw 4 lines, both up and down and then across. That will make 5 spaces all around the paper. Feel free to pause the video if you'd like while you create your grid. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. Now that you have your grid, you're ready to color your quilt pattern by coloring the blank grid with different color markers, just like I'm going to do right now. You can color them any color you want and in any pattern that you want. Feel free to pause the video so that you can color in your quilt. Once you have created your pattern, you're going to write an algorithm to tell someone else how to create your quilt. So you're going to number each row from your quilt from 1 to 5. Make sure you use a different number for each row on your quilt. So for example, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, on a different piece of paper, you're going to write your algorithm. For each line, you're going to write the colors in the order that they show up on your quilt. So I'll start and I'll write for row 1, I have blue, green, purple, green, blue. So if that's the beginning of my algorithm, what would be the next line for my algorithm? Right. It would be red, orange, green, orange, red. So now pause the video, take a few minutes to write your algorithm for your patchwork quilt. After you write your algorithm, test it by following the steps to color in a new grid. You're going to need to make a new 5x5 grid on a different piece of paper and color it in according to your algorithm. So for mine, my first line would be blue, green, purple, green, blue, then red, orange, green, orange, red. So take a couple minutes, pause the video, and test your algorithm to see if you can create your own patchwork quilt. So, how'd you do? Does your new quilt match your original design? If not, that's okay. This often happens to computer scientists. When they run their code, they might find a problem or see that the code doesn't quite do what they expected it to do. That's when they go back to their algorithm, find what the problem is, and fix it. In computer science, a problem or error in code is called a bug. When you go back and fix it, it's called debugging. Remember, it's okay if your algorithm doesn't go the way you want to on the first, second, or even third try. Computer scientists persevere and continue to solve a problem even when they're faced with big challenges. When you persevere, you don't give up. Instead, you do your best and work towards a goal, even if it's a big challenge. If you get stuck and your algorithm doesn't work the way you want, you can always go back and talk about it with someone else to identify the bug and sketch a new plan to find a solution that works. After you do something new, it's a good idea to think about what you learned, what you liked, or what you didn't like, and what you might want to do next. You could ask questions like, what did you find enjoyable and why? What did you find challenging and how did you deal with that? What did you learn? What surprised you? And what would you like to learn next? That's it. You've just completed step 1 of the Brownie Coding for Good Coding Basics badge. You've learned a lot about algorithms and how computers follow them to solve problems. If you like this experience, check out the rest of the activities in the Coding for Good badges or the cybersecurity badges. Or you can learn more about how computer scientists solve problems with the Think Like a Programmer journey. You can find these and more at the Girl Scout shop online, or if you're a leader, on the Volunteer Toolkit. Thanks for joining me and have a great day.